Welcome to the second episode of Voices, a video podcast whose purpose is to give voice to teachers, administrators, parents, and students about topics of interest to the school community. I am your host, Marianne Brush, a member of the district communications team. Our guest today is our new superintendent, Dr. John Dean. The topic is what Dr. Dean heard during the series of community listening sessions he conducted throughout the district. Dr. Dean, can you briefly describe the nature of these listening sessions and who was in attendance?
Marianne, first, thanks for having me on Voices today. I think it's really important for the community to understand kind of where did these listening sessions come from. As I've worked in the district for 9 years, and as I've specifically pursued the superintendent position over the last couple of months, one of the things that we all came to understand was that really there needs to be some healing inside of our school district, because all of us have gone through trauma, some of it caused by the pandemic, some of it caused by things happening in our lives, some of it caused by reconfiguration. And as the new superintendent, I committed to help start that healing process. And when we talk about healing, one of the first things we have to do is create an opportunity for people to be heard. So we designed a series of listening sessions, one at each of the buildings in our school district, where we would frankly meet on the lawn, open it up to anyone in the community that wanted to attend. So sometimes that was a parent, sometimes it was a grandparent, sometimes it was just a community member. In fact, sometimes people were actually walking their dogs and just kind of saw us and stopped and joined us. And it was really an opportunity to have dialogue. And I attended each of them. We had at least one board member, sometimes up to 3 board members at each of them. We had a member of the communications team, and we'd have somewhere between 2 and probably 35 community members attend each one and really have an opportunity to share their truth and to get some of their questions answered.
Great. Can you summarize some of the major themes you heard?
Absolutely. And really, there weren't many things that were surprising, but they were all very important. One of the things that wasn't surprising, but we do know is important, is that Grosse Pointe Public Schools does need to do a better job communicating. And that came up loud and clear in nearly every listening session. We need to have more opportunities, not just for the district to share information, although that's important, but to have really two-way communication where people can ask questions, they can get answers, where they can kind of share what's on their mind and get some feedback so that they know they've really been heard. Related to communication, we also really learned that our website does really need some upgrades. And so we're in the process right now of implementing some of the upgrades to our website so that we can communicate better with people so they can get that information at the touch of their fingers that they need. Another regular theme, or another consistent theme that came up throughout this process was, how is the district going to reopen for school next year, especially in light of the pandemic? You know, we have been full face-to-face, and we have committed that we will again be full face-to-face in the fall. And there were lots of questions about what's that going to look like? What do protocols look like? And at the end of the day, the thing that really we shared most often is that school is going to be back to normal. Of course, it's going to be back in a safe way, but we're going to be as close to back to normal as possible. We're really fortunate right now that COVID rates are very low in our community and in our state, and we're really optimistic that we're going to have a, quote, fully regular start to our school year. Another thing that came up, probably the third significant theme, were just really good questions about our most important thing inside of a school, and that's our teaching and learning. You know, how can we support our teachers? There were questions about individual programs. You know, like when we go to a middle school, we get questions about, well, how is 5th grade working? Not complaints necessarily, but just questions, right? Or there'd be questions about, how does the transition from young 5s to kindergarten look like? You know, so we had a lot of those, which I think are really those good kind of digging deeper questions about what's going on inside of our schools and how can we partner with our kids and families.
Great, thank you. For community members who were unable to attend, what would you most like them to know?
The most important thing is, if a community member has something they want to share or they have a question for us, they really should reach out to us. Okay, and there's a couple of ways to do that. The first and best way to get information about the school is to ask your kid's teacher. Okay, now obviously right now kids aren't in school today. It's, you know, June 29th. I understand that no one has a teacher today, but that is always the best place to go. The second best place to go is to probably talk to your outstanding secretary in your building or your child's principal. At the same time, don't be shy about contacting me directly, contacting the communications team, etc. That's probably the biggest thing we heard, is when there's a disconnect in communication, it impacts trust negatively and it causes anxiety for people. So if someone has a question or they've got just a comment, they should reach out to us and share that with us. And we really take that feedback and we really we create an action step based on that feedback, and we try to make things better for people.
So do you believe that the listening session accomplished their intended purpose? And will you host more? I think a lot of people would like to know.
I would tell you that we really didn't get a single complaint about any of them. I mean, it's hard to pull someone off. I say this as a Grosse Pointer who's lived here for 22 years. It's hard to do something in Grosse Pointe and not get someone to say, yeah, that wasn't quite right. But really, we didn't get any of those complaints in this case. They were all well attended, and pretty much everyone who went thanked me at the end, or thanked the team or the board member at the end, and said, hey, this was worth my time. So we will be offering these again. Now, one of the things that was great was we did these in May and June, and we did them outside. I'd like to continue to do that. Of course, since we live in Michigan, we won't be doing that outside in February, right? So we're going to have to think about exactly how do we structure these, but we certainly are going to be doing them again. I'd also tell you another reason I think they were successful. We had over 120 community members or parents come to these various listening sessions. That's an outstanding turnout. Generally in schools, the only way you get that many people to come if it's about their kid, like parent-teacher conferences or promotion or something like that. But none of these were about a specific child, yet we still had over 120 people come to these sessions. I think that speaks really highly of our community, and the people found value in these listening sessions.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your time. Congratulations on the new position and best of luck.
Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate you having me on Voices today.
Thank you. Thank you for being on Voices. Your voices are important to us. And for those watching, let us know if there are any other topics you would like us to cover. We're listening. Feel free to contact us at info@gpschools.org.